actually prepping this car for the track, and we're just kind of going through it because Joel's so far behind. We're giving him a chance to catch up on all the badass four-rotor videos.
Yeah, no, for real, it's true. Is that what's going on right now is that we're trying to do a lot of unfilmable things, but everything we do is actually pretty filmable, to be honest. While Joel's editing all of our insane four-rotor launching and all that sort of crazy stuff, we're overhauling this car for Willow Springs.
He just came and checked my whole video, but whatever. Okay, cool.
What are you doing at Willow Springs?
We're gonna be racing at Grid Life. Apparently, we put our names in the hat for like an actual race. We were talking about racing each other, the whole like FC versus RX-8 fun stuff. And then we also want to bring the three-rotor to shake it down now that we have the Öhlins on there. So it's a lot of different things going on all at once. And this car, we're making sure we don't die in. So Isaiah found a couple places of death that he helped avoid.
I was going to tell you guys everything, but these guys, they just don't like me talking about it. So yes, we did some good things to the car. I fixed the coolant system, and that's actually looking really promising right now. I took this old, ugly piece of crap thing out. I made 2 dicks, pretty much. But so now we don't have any high spots. Everything's just badass, and it's working badass, and the suction on this side looks badass. Everything's looking very promising. We have new brake rotors because those ones, as you guys see, were really cracked, and I don't know how Rob was stopping at all. Those are actually from your half-mile event thing, right? Mm-hmm. So those things are way old. On Billy's strong recommendation, we have the badass brake fluid that we flush everything out. We have hot brake pads front and rear, which I didn't think he had, but he already had.
I want to point out, that's not a Valvoline product. The important part about this is Valvoline does make something that's even crazier than that, but they don't sell it. They're currently in a contract with something. So we're trying to convince them to make a VR1 brake fluid that would shit on the SRF. But right now you got Motul and you've the 600 and you've got Castrol SRF. That is stupidly expensive.
Stupidly expensive.
Foolishly expensive.
Like almost $70 for this bottle right here. And we also have the Öhlins.
It's only because I'm so good looking.
Yeah, so this is...
I'll die handsome.
And that's the perfect way to introduce Doug. Doug Brenner, you'd make a better example of explaining who you are than
I'm
ever
just
could.
a guy. I'm the Öhlins guy. I have done Öhlins shocks for 30 years. I only do Öhlins. I don't do anything else. And I think I'm the only guy in the country authorized for motorcycle and auto, except I'm a car guy. I don't do anything that falls over when it stops.
Doug is back to help with the three-rotor, and this is just a hint of what we're about to do with the four-rotor and the IndyCar. So Öhlins and all this. We got a lot to unbox and show you what we've got in store. Was not expecting that big of a box.
Well, there's 2 of them.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
This is like Christmas.
Yeah, I know. These are great.
Okay. Oh, nice clean hardware there.
They're complete. Everything's
Yeah.
there. Springs.
I've always loved the finish and the build quality.
Take any other shock and put it in your hand in an Öhlins.
Yeah.
You just think so.
That's the shock?
Yeah, that's,
Ooh. I don't deserve these.
yeah, you do. This is the road and track kit. They make them for all different performance cars.
Yeah.
And it's a nice. It's not super expensive.
Yeah. So it's a reasonable.
Yeah, this kit, I think I put it was $2,390.
Okay.
That's with everything. I mean, it's complete.
To have Öhlins.
And they use all the Öhlins shims, so
Yeah.
if you wanted to revalve, and it's adjustable. There's no bleed, so that adjustment, when you turn that, it's rebound and compression both. And when I used to do Brand X shocks, and even in Öhlins, some of the older Öhlins where they have a check valve, I'd take it out.
Yeah.
It's a misnomer. They call it a rebound valve, but it's not. The other advantage to this type of a shock, because I noticed when you did it on the other Mazda, that shock had it too, is it's length adjustable.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a length adjustable shock, whatever your spring preload is ride height.
That's it.
That's the right, you got to do it. This one you can do your preload and then change ride height here, so you don't need, I don't know what they call them because I don't use them, but lowering springs and all that stuff, you don't need it.
What sort of valving, what does it look like on the inside of
I
this?
got it right here. This is what the dual flow valve looks like here. And if I could take this top off, there's shims in there. And the strange thing, usually if you've seen any of my videos, about bleeds.
Yeah.
This is a bleed around the piston. Here's one with the piston, and that's normal. You know, there's a needle in here, and when you turn that knob, it does that. But they also have a second hole.
Oh, okay.
So when this goes off, you know, when you get a big bump or whatever, it also bypasses it. But it's
Whoa.
closed most of the time. So
Yeah.
that's what they call a dual flow valve. Here's what it looks like with the piston, and the shims are on it. This is what's inside. And the shims sit on the top of the dual flow valve.
I support the people that support me, and very much so. If you guys are looking to get Öhlins, if you're on the fence, like I was originally, not for the big cars, but this car, Doug's the guy to talk to. And basically, what we give them a little, if they know me or they mention me.
The Road and Track kits are for a lot of different ones, and you can probably see it at Öhlins. You go to Öhlins USA or call or email me, and I'll pay the freight on anything, because it's about $100 from in the lower 48, because these are heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want a Road and Track kit, and sometimes this one it won't be available for another couple months, so they're out of them a lot too.
Yeah, yeah. So he's the guy. Give him a call, Doug Brenner.
Yeah,
And-
BrennerShocks.com and the Öhlins guy on YouTube. And again, it's worth it because I'm so good looking.
That's a very pleasant benefit.
Just buy Öhlins. Even if you don't buy it from me, you know, you'll be better off.
It can't get any more clear than that. Okay, so we are going to show you exactly what the experience is like putting these on the car and enjoying just how much control we have over handling. They've laid this out beautifully, and you can see everything all in one shot. These are both of the front shocks, the springs for both of those, the little guards, but all of the other hardware necessary to fit everything together, and of course, the tops up here. The rears, a little bit simpler, they don't have that brake line holder, all that bracketry and little adapters and all that, and then the hats here as well. So these are all, just look at the machine work in this. The more I do machining, the more I'm just like impressed with the quality of these pieces. Not only that, they actually do also come with the instructions, which a person like me will obsess on reading, and you know, the basic setups right there. Even talking about what the spring is that it comes with, lengths and all that sort of stuff. So you could do a lot of preload calculations from there. And then of course, this is kind of what Doug was going over before, how it actually does the dual valve flow. Nice quick little refresher on that, and the how-to, which is exactly what you're gonna see in this video. So I think it's time to assemble a shock.
Shocking.
Got the little logo sticking out. The spacer. There we go, we're getting close to the threads.
Yeah, one of those,
A hat.
and then one of those little thingies there. It's a technical term. It's a
This
thing.
okay,
Yeah.
make sure you include a thingy.
Yeah,
Is it this way?
and that's it. Get the
Wow,
nut.
okay.
And the reason there's a spacer is so that it can misalign. It's not hitting anything. It's not solid.
That makes sense. Oh, it's got, oh yeah, I love that style of lock washer too.
Yeah, all Öhlins are all like that.
Yeah.
And it's only 20 newtons, so you don't. The
Yeah,
thing
right.
I see, the worst thing I see when I do shocks all the time is over tightening.
I would be that guy.
I know, and it makes perfect sense. You know, you're doing it, you don't know, and you go,
Yeah.
well, I want to make sure it
I don't
doesn't
want it to
come
fall
off.
off.
And maybe put this in here.
Oh, that makes it
And
easier.
if you can hold it, it'll go down. No, I don't think it's in yet. That's
Oh.
what she said.
It is what she said.
Yeah.
Perfect. My very first Öhlins. I don't even want to put them in the car 'cause
I know.
they're gonna get dirty.
I know.
This preload's adjusted here, the height of the car then would be adjusted
Yes.
there, and go ahead and try and make this as clean as possible too. It always takes a little bit of work, a little extra struggling, but you have a Öhlins in the car. This is my very first one set up, just gently placed in there. Got some bolts to tighten, otherwise we'll have some very loose control arms. These are very therapeutic to build.
titanium by itself is 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. With the copper inside, it's 2200 degrees Fahrenheit. So that adds another, what, 400 degrees Fahrenheit of insulation. Let me see if I get him to explain a little bit better.
It keeps it away from there.
Yeah, so it allows it to just go through pretty
Go
much.
right through there.
And the copper on the inside, that's another layer of insulation.
That's another
So-
layer. Nobody else offers that. We offer it. It's a special piston coating made for us.
Ah, I see. Yeah, because I remember we did that a while ago.
The guys will say, yeah, we coat the insides. They coat it with the stuff that's there.
Oh, I see.
They just spray the gun a little bit.
Ah, gotcha.
We spray the copper on the insides. And it reduces the exterior temperature depending on the application. It'll reduce the exterior temperature of the pipe probably 10 to 15%,
Wow.
which is quite a bit.
And the numbers that you guys have on the coatings, what is that number exactly? 1800 Fahrenheit is basic titanium.
That's that's what that coating will withstand.
Oh, wow, okay. Today I brought the guys over at Turbo Smart a gift. I believe this is your first ceramic coated one that we're doing?
Yeah, first ceramic coated electronic wastegate that I've seen.
Look how beautiful this is.
That is very nice coating. I've seen a lot of coated gates, and that one is very pretty.
With the copper on the inside. So what I'm gonna have him do is, he did for me last time when we put the 3-rotor back together. He tested it all out, see what the max close was, what max open was, and gave me all the nice specs for it. I'm not a cameraman, but today I have my cameraman here today, so we're gonna show you something badass.
So we're just going to put the valve bolt onto the actual valve in the lower half of this housing here. So first I just need to make sure all these things can thread on after this coating has been put on here. So that's good. And then we have the actual valve guide inside of here. We're going to put the heat shield on, and then we have these little ceramic insulators here. So there's no metal on metal contact throughout everything. This is a Permabond liquid that we use. Make sure it's on there making contact. And the locking collar to make sure that sandwich is in. The valve that we use here, we're going to put that through. And then we have this snap ring right here. That's on. Gearbox. So I'm rotating this gear to make sure that this voltage reading is 4.5 since we're in the home position. It's reading 4.6, which is fine. So before I put the power on, I'm going to move this to mid-stroke since it's fully closed. One gate done.
So Isaiah has done something wonderful for me. I paid for it, but it was the convincing part that really was the most important part. And this shows you just a hint of it. So ceramic coating has been something that I've been avoiding for a long time. I love like my PTP turbo blankets, and I will always continue to run those. You can't make up for physical distance between things in terms of heat and isolation, but you can certainly get pretty smart with it. And so we have ceramic coated the inside and the outside of the turbo manifold and the housing and all the other super hot parts. The thing that Isaiah convinced me on was doing the inside as well, and it certainly has been done. Now we'll have to watch out for this surface right here because the turbo blade is right next to it, so we'll have to do some verification on that, but that has ceramic, real ceramic, on inside and outside. Now,
Well, this is copper on the inside, so it's a copper, I guess.
copper based. The goal is obviously maintaining the heat inside of the turbo. All the energy coming out of here can be expressed as heat and pressure. So the more heat and pressure you get to the turbo blades, the more you can scavenge the energy out of it. So that's a good combo right there. That's the basic formula to turbochargers. But this is our baby done up in that format. My manifold flange, which was a beautiful machined stainless, is no longer, but that looks pretty damn sexy. That is pretty beautiful. So you can see my little flanged edges I did for Isaiah, the taper.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Now, what I love about this specific piece being done this way is that the heat captured right here on the 4-rotor, you can actually see on these bends right here, you'll see heat accumulating at these bends because the heat hits, and you'll actually see the other type of ceramic coating, that's kind of not as expensive as this stuff, reaching its critical mass of temperature. Well, the thing I don't want to have happen is all of that heat soak in the steel now start going into these areas here, which is where aluminum is on the motor. So you start heating the motor back up just because you're holding on to more exhaust temperature. So I want that heat going through this and getting to the turbo. Again, not being reabsorbed in the engine. I want isolated heat just purely going straight to the turbo or out the E-gate. Now in this case, this is the world's first E-gate that has been ceramic coated. Yet again, we're gonna be isolating the heat from the electronics. They're already perfectly fine. I mean, look at how small that actually is, but pretty sick. This entire setup, including the downpipe and the recirculating downpipe, are all done up. Now something like this costs about what, $600-700? This wasn't a Rob Dahm special. It's not like it was a YouTube related thing. So that's what anybody would pay to get this much done. And it's important that you specify the right type of coating because not all ceramic coatings are ceramic
I
coatings.
actually found out today that they're the only ones that do the copper on the inside.
Remember what I had years ago, the FLIR infrared sensor?
I
It'd be so sick to see. Is this bullshit? Because that's what I was hesitant about this whole time was, cool, makes sense, but is it really working? I still don't think that anything replaces good old-fashioned, insulation, but I do think that this is a massive step in the right direction and less problems. We'll still run a turbo blanket because this is a massive chunk of metal, and no matter what, it's still going to get hot.
The big boy going on. This thing looks so good in here. It's honestly a dream. I can't blow it hard enough to do that. Okay. Ah, you see that?
Yeah.
Woo! Ew, that's not very superior right there. I need to rebuild the steering rack. I'll show you guys as soon as I get this guy off of here. But on the opposite side of where I welded, the seal broke. So it had nothing to do with welding. And I did all the work to the rack, so it's like, and we can't even buy a rack for a reasonable price nowadays. So we're just gonna take the rack out and go get it rebuilt. Luckily there's somebody nearby that rebuilt it for us. I said it was impossible, so I did it anyways. Pulled the rack out without dropping the subframe. Today I finally got back the FD rack. For you FD owners, you guys know these are like $1,500 minimum to just replace. So we got it rebuilt at a decent price. And he called my work Mickey Mouse over here, which it's not, but it is. It was Mickey Mouse, and I had to fix it. And he gave us a nice smooth paint job. He matched the 4-rotor. He's like, yeah, I love you guys' car. He has no idea about this, but he replaced all the seals, so everything should be fine. He's like, this one over here was busted, which where it was leaking a lot from. So hopefully we put this guy back on and nothing leaks anymore, hopefully. Well, I got this thing up on the lift, and this was way easier than the on the floor nightmare that I had. Power steering fluids dripping down on me. Had no choice, and it's just, oh, it was horrible. Luckily, we have this badass lift. Rob doesn't believe in lifts, but it's all good. I forgot to lift the engine up when I pulled this out, so I just had to lift it up a little bit, and now it just slid right in there. I just gotta get these mounts on there. Just gonna put some of this full synthetic on this ball joint just to make sure she's all nice and happy. It's 2 days before the event, and Rob wants a new fuel system. I said, no biggie, Rob, I got you, whatever. So we are gonna replace this guy with our tried and true fuel lab setup. He has this nice piece on the back side, you know, it goes and it covers up, and very, very OEM like, you know, goes like that, and so cool OEM piece. I like it, he likes it. So what I have to do is I have to cut this little bit out, just so that way the fuel system can sit in there properly. I was gonna mount it over here somewhere, but the bottom inside this spare tire area just too wavy, and I don't want to bang it up too much. I don't want to cut into it, and I also want him to have nice trunk space because this is a street car, hopefully. Cool. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Pre-Field Lab, pre-speed flow, pre-knowledge that we have. This is push lock fitting. There's no clamp on this, just stuff that you get at AutoZone, honestly. This isn't even rated for ethanol. I don't know how this has survived this long, and it's done a perfectly fine job, but we've been having some lean, rich issues. Field Lab is just amazing. This is you, right? All weird and AutoZone wires and connectors, and that's the guy she's been telling you not to worry about.
What we're currently doing right now is using a really custom setup, but it ends up being the Fuel Lab brushless pump. With this thing, as I've learned, at no back pressure, so it's filling the surge tank. This only uses 6 amps at peak. So it is just dumping tons of fuel into that surge tank, fresh, ready to go, and at full, we're using 6 amps. Wonderful. What I'm doing right now is I am crimping all these wires together, but if you notice, one of the things I'm making sure I do is put them at different heights. Even if the DR25 roads, even if all this SCL roads, whatever, that they never just bump into each other and short out the phased brushless pump wires. They end up having 12 volts and ground at different times, but shorting them out would be nonetheless really wild. One of the things that blow me away though about fuel in general is like the pump connector is not sealed. There's nothing stopping the fuel from going in there. So it actually, all of the electrical components, this could be left open like this, and that blows me away because that makes no sense. If it was water, it was short. You actually can take a look at the surge tank in the car. I've wired one of them up already. It looks really clean, making this thing look like the quality that we're starting to come to expect from ourselves. And the 3-rotor is going to take like a fraction of the amperage, which that poor alternator was already being put to the test, and that was really getting hot. Stopped Joel from taking his creeper shots, but look at this, nice, clean. Unlike my other wiring where it's all twisted and everything, this is just separation, just insurance, because this is inside of a gas tank. Not really something I want to fuck around with. So looks good there. Very happy with that. They're all different levels, so even if this erodes, they can't bump into each other. Turned out pretty clean. Now, of course, the dream goal is to crimp this, but I don't have that. So that's where we're at now. So we're using the bulkhead that was supplied by Fuel Lab, and then actually it comes with a boot. Those boots are stupid expensive, so I'm glad that they already did that for me. But I'm going to trim this part back and then run this over to one of the controllers. Some arts and crafts going on. I'm not the fabrication father of your dreams. I am the fabrication father of your nightmares. I started with cardboard aided design and turned it into something. It's not perfect. It's meant to just rapidly get the air to the correct spots, and it's kind of a two-piece thing, is that it's actually meant to rest flat on top of the intercooler, creating a seal between the intercooler and the front duct. And then the reason it only goes down to about here is because it touches the main vent here on the backside. So it's really just finishing the fact that the air comes in, hits here, and then goes up over all of it, preventing the air from going over the intercooler, and then it's also preventing the air from the intercooler going up over out of the radiator, because the radiator is not the path of least resistance. Far from perfect, but a little bit of hammering, a little bit of love, and I think it's basically there. You know, I'm worried about safety when I start doing really random things at 3 in the morning to a car, other than just staring at it. But I actually put in one of my Sparkos that were meant for the 4-rotor, but they're too large for that car, and so we fixed that. But I put the Sparkos in, and I am very happy that I did that. Mostly saved some weight on this side of the car, but that's only saved me like 4 pounds after I got all the rails and everything in there. The cool part about this is that I really worked it over to get the right driving position I wanted, and I am way more firm in the car. And it's something I hated at first, these shoulder blade things sticking out, but honestly, it prevents me from moving any other way. My arms are kind of fixed from there. I don't have as much mobility, and I actually like that because, okay, I can reach right there fine, I can reach here, I've got room for my helmet. I feel very safe. And so, you know, nothing's perfect, but it's 4 bolts mounted to the car. I think this is about the safest you can get without a roll cage. going for almost the final install on the wiring back here. And so I wanted to show you guys what is left. I'm going to simply pull all the wires that are unnecessary in one movement, and you'll see what powers the current surge tank system. So I have to pull these out, otherwise it'll short the car out anyway. So here we go.
Everything?
Oh, this one's not supposed to be here either. That's all the old wiring. This is fully wired. This is what you see. That's the entire thing, capable of making almost, what is that, 1,400 horsepower minimum. Massive, massive improvement. The thickness of the wires, even something as simple as that, the thickness of these wires here, 12 gauge wiring. It says 10, but it is not when you measure the actual diameter of the raw material, compared to the Tesla wires, which are 3 12 gauge wires or so right inside of there, hidden inside of it. So you can see how clean this is. Oh yeah, these are same thing. So you see it right there, 14, 12 gauge, somewhere there. It's all the same, but so much cleaner. This car deserves this. We're maxing that alternator out as we start seeing voltage dropping. So this will solve that, which means we can run the fans even harder and not have to worry about anything. This is just why I love Isaiah so much. I mean, he puts out, but that's awesome too. But look at this. This is clean. It's a diamond in the rough. This car is what's ugly. It's really, I had to match his quality. And so if this plate was on, you wouldn't notice that one of the controllers for this pump are inside of here. And then the line to power all these pumps are right back there. And then all of that comes together nice and clean, sealed off. Everything's wonderful. And then a surge system.
This is the outer side of the car, so this is out, and this is the inner side of the car, so this is in. So this is fuel in, this is fuel out.
Yes, it's coming out of the tank, getting filtered to about 65 microns, so that way these don't pick up shit. Goes into here, and then as it fills up and overflows, it goes back out this one and dumps off, because you don't want to have over like 2-3 psi inside of here. This is the pumps out to the front, filtering down to like a 6 micron, going out and feeding that, and then this is the return back from the front of the car. So we're going to go ahead and just key on the car. This system is not currently pulsed, so it's just on off. As we found with the FC, the cool part is when you on off it by default with Fuel Lab, it's on full, like top. So it's not half. And so that's why it sounded a lot louder. Watch, we'll go ahead and key it on, and we should hear some beautiful...
Yeah, we should hear it fill up, actually.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, you hear it?
Sounds like my phone's on vibrate.
There you go, fill up, baby.
There we go.
Yeah. On this hanger, I have the return just free falling, so we'll be able to hear once it starts returning. You'll be able to hear it free fall back into the tank. That way I can kind of know about how much gas we have or not.
It's at 65 psi.
Do it again?
Yep.
Stop it. Yeah. You can hear it falling in when it does that.
That's excellent. That is excellent.
He wanted to do drag radials for the track, and I was like, whatever you want. Weird, you're gonna die. But then last night he's like psyched himself out watching videos, and he's like, I'm gonna die. So he ordered 888s, right?
No,
Oh.
I ordered Proxy RRs. You can't deny the insane variety of choices Toyo has for all of these cars. And so I went with Proxy's RRs, which is what the Unicorn had to swap to keep up with us at the event. So we're gonna go 275 all around on the car, and it's like a 40 treadwear tire, so it's a really sticky tire. I'm adding a tire temperature sensor, external, like an infrared one, adding that to the rear, because I saw on Toyo's site that you want to get it about 180 to 220 degrees, where its peak stickiness and operating temperature is ideal. A lot of learning for me, but we'll have that. I went and redid the entire dash, the way the Fuel Tech set up, not for tuning, but for racing. But we also have front pressure sensor for the brakes. That's actually also for line lock and whatnot too, but it will help us watch, okay, here's how many G-forces we pulled with this much braking pressure, were the brakes fading, all of those sort of things that we can actually watch after all the races. We put Toyo Proxy RRs on all 4 corners of this vehicle. The Toyo Proxy RRs, to me, are gonna keep me alive. This is very important because they call them drag tires even on their own website. I disagree. They're in that realm, and they would kick ass on the 4-rotor, but the sidewall strength on this is what makes this a phenomenal track tire. You see how soft that's an advantage for these. But this is what would get me killed going out on Big Willow, is that the car slides on the rim back and forth very, very easily. Of course, they're not inflated, so it's over exaggerated, but you get the idea. That is the goal of these tires, and that is not the goal of these tires. So I'm very excited because I'm going to be doing very fast speeds. Can I blow these tires off? Absolutely. This car can blow all the tires off. But now that we finally have good boost control strategy from the whole new setup, I feel really strong that once the tires are up to temperature, I'll be able to hook. What we're going to do now is corner balance it, or at least check the corner balancing. Now this is all approximate because the car doesn't have its hood on and whatnot. There's the tools sitting there, but you get the idea here. Is that right now, just looking side to side, 750, 730, 660, 650. I spent a lot of time already trying to balance the car out and doing a little bit of corner balancing. Now, corner balancing is a little different. You're actually making sure that this and this equal this and this. It's kind of like a table is the best analogy I've heard. 50.2% on this way, 50.2% on that way. So this is basically corner balance. Now, that's the problem, though. Who's driving it? This fat ass here, once I get into it, totally changes all these numbers. And so then you see a different picture being painted, and it's unfortunate, but I spent a lot of time trying to get weight onto this rear tire here. So 27.1 plus 22.5, well actually I got it really close. Like I said, I've worked this over big time. So it's 0.4% more on my back corner and the front corner there. If we raise this one and this one, unfortunately this one's the heaviest one here, but if we raise these two, we'll get that extra little bit off of those two. That's corner balancing in a nutshell. So that way when you turn one way versus turn the other way, it feels the exact same. But I'm just happy that these two are way closer, because when we first measured it with me in the car, it was 160-pound difference between the two rear tires, and it's gonna feel weird. It's gonna be something odd. There we are with the 3-rotor, and look at that, 29.95, and it's tank of gas. It's got everything. It's got all the oil. This is a fully operational car. So it's kind of nice to see under 3,000 pounds.
You ever rip some amazing ass and you just want to take in the last bit of it? It's either that or I'm working on the submarine belt. I wasn't sniffing ass. I was actually getting the penis belt, the submarine belt as they call it, all set up. Oddly enough, if you've ever just set up your 5-point harness or have a 4-point harness, setting up as a 4-point harness makes you want this, because the two shoulder belts pull up so far. If you don't have that on there, put your shoulder belts on and you tighten them down, they're gonna pull all of this way up. Even with it all super tight, still you're human, you're soft, gooey, so it pulls it way up, making you really feel weird. I mean, you're pretty safe, but you can see that you want to do this. So we'll swap it like that. Put the little submarine belt on first. That's me fully hardened. It's holding me back. If I ever need to push myself up back in the seat, there we go. That is the final setup for the 5-point harness in the car. Is it perfect? No. Is it the safest this car has ever been or ever could be? Yeah. Without a roll cage, this is pretty damn safe. So I've got 4 points. Yeah, the rear two are connected into 1 point in the back, but I feel really good. Between this seat and this G-Force 5-point harness, I feel pretty good.
How fast can you jump out of it? It's actually pretty quick.
Yeah, and that's with the door not fully open.
At this moment in time, I am a better fuel system maker than I am a coolant system maker.
But your coolant system has improved dramatically on this car.
That's the second fuel system in a row. No issues.
You're right.
I'm always worried because fittings you don't know until they're under pressure. But it's just the speed flow stuff is too easy. I just tell them wrong.
Amazing. That whole fuel system, like, fully gutted and fully operational.
What if we just post like kind of high school type like vibe sessions, like where you're chilling right there on the couch watching a movie and nothing's really happening, but we're just kind of like inching towards each other and you see that we're just both nervous. I go to touch your hand and somebody walks in to the house.
This is a scenario you played out in your head a couple times.
I didn't realize he was
I
recording.
never say anything gay. I never say anything gay. No, just kidding. Earlier, what was I saying? It's like, see Isaiah back at the welding table?
Tight ass.
Yeah, tight ass.
The way the weld glistens off his face.
Just so you guys know, when we do all the welding shots in 60 frames, it's not for you guys. I play in slow motion for myself.
We're just doing some ghetto stuff real quick. We don't really mind what's going on here. We're just trying to get air to flow.
I'm entertained.
Right? Me too. I don't know how long this is gonna last.
Not very. Because even if it's 1 PSI difference, that's a lot of I.
You think that tape's gonna help him from destroying that radiator?
It's my flat bottom now.
It's working good, bro.